क्व pravṛttirnirvṛttirvā क्व muktiḥ क्व च bandhanam kūṭasthanirvibhāgasya svasthasya mama sarvadā. Where is activity? Where is inactivity? Where is liberation? And where is bondage? For me, who am immutable and indivisible and ever established in the self. Let us visualize a scenario where one person is asleep and another person is sitting besides this person and just seeing him. And the person who is asleep, he gets a dream. In the dream, say a snake has approached him and the snake has encircled his hand and making its grip tighter and tighter on his hand. Suddenly that person starts crying, "Help me, help me." The person who is sitting near him says, "What happened?" He explains that the snake has come, it has made circle over my hand and it is tightening its grip. Now it is approaching my face. Save me, save me, save me. He's crying. The other person is saying, "Open your eyes." He keeps crying. He gives a little slap and then just he says, "Open your eyes." And the person opens his eyes and of course there is no snake at all. All activities related to that snake which was happening with that person, it was all activity in his mind. And when he realizes there is no snake on opening his eyes, again it is inactivity in his mind. In reality, if the mind is transcended, as and when the mind is transcended, there is neither activity nor any inactivity. Na muktiḥ na cha bandhanam. Sri Ramana says, bondage and liberation are mere linguistic terms. They have no reality of their own. Therefore, they cannot function of their own accord. In a mantra quoted from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the word Purusha is used. If this Purusha is to know the Atman as identical, the meaning of this Purusha is to know the Atman as identical with one's own self. Who is this Purusha? The Purusha is nothing but the Jiva. It is the Jiva that is aspiring for the knowledge of the self. That consciousness which is rooted in substratum is called the kūṭastha Chaitanya. Really unattached as is the kūṭastha himself. The next expression coming in the verse is kūṭastha. Though this is the essential nature of the Jiva consciousness in terms of the kūṭastha, which is its substratum, yet what happens is that there is anyonya adhyasya. This is in that Brihadaranyaka Upanishad verse. Mutual superimposition of the characters. We need not go into the details of how one thing is superimposed on the other, because we have already studied it earlier in detail about the misapprehension, rope and the snake, post and the ghost, etc. How many times this has been explained. The universality of consciousness, which is the kūṭastha nature, is superimposed on the Jiva, so that the Jiva wrongly begins to feel that it is not going to die. It will always be there, perpetually living in this world. And conversely, the limitations, the finitude which is of the Jiva is transferred to the kūṭastha Chaitanya, and one starts to feel I am small, I am big, I am high, I am low, etc. This dual mutual superimposition is called anyonya adhyasa. This Jiva, it is that is referred to by the word Purusha in this verse quoted. If one inquires, going back to the bondage and liberation, for whom is there bondage and liberation? It will be seen they are for me. If one inquires, who am I? One will see that there is no such thing as the I. It will then be as clear as an amalaka fruit in one's hand that what remains is one's real being. As this truth will be naturally and clearly experienced by those who leave aside mere verbal discussions and inquire into themselves inwardly. There is no doubt that all realized masters uniformly see neither bondage nor liberation so far as the true self is concerned. Let us see from the book for further description on immutable, indivisible, etc. As the illumining principle behind all activities of the body, mind, intellect, It in itself is not involved in any activity, nor can we declare that it is inactive. Activity and inactivity are the two states of the mind and the body. The consciousness is neither active nor inactive. It is beyond it being merely the knowing principle that illumines the two conditions into one awareness. Established in the self, the royal sage has no identity other than the self. He has no impulsion to act, as there is no ego or desire in him. In the absence of the egocentric individuality in him, he has no duties from which he must, with exertion and suffering, learn to withdraw. So, for the one who has realized and abides in self, there is neither activity nor inactivity, neither liberation nor bondage, and he exists as immutable, kūṭastha, indivisible, nirvibhāgasya, and ever established in the self, svasthasya mama sarvadā. Indivisible. Since Purusha or Brahman or universal consciousness, which the sage verily exists as, is Ekam, is the one, changeless. Therefore, it cannot be divided into two or more. Because it is not like a fruit which can be cut into two halves and separated. One half stands separated from the other. Nirvibhāgasya. Everywhere, all-pervading, Purnamadah Purnamidam. Everywhere it is one Purusha, which is Purnam, all-pervading. So, in the all-pervading, say, nearest example which we can relate to in this is space. Can the space can be divided into 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space? Space is one. In its essence, it is indivisible. It cannot be made to 2 or 3. So, just go one step ahead than space. Purusha, Brahman. From where the space has come, that Brahman is in essence one, Purnam, Ekam, changeless, kūṭastha, indivisible self. Hari Om Tat Sat.